Good morning, everybody. More They Duke here, and welcome to the second episode of the New Gods podcast. Today I have joining me All Bones Jones, a Dark Raccoon, and Fropolo 94. How we doing, boys?
Pretty well, thanks.
I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
pretty
hanging
fine.
in there, I guess.
I'm okay.
Okay, so today the question we have is, what do you like most about the Fear and Hunger series, and what do you like least about Fear and Hunger series? So I think this should be a good one. We might be here all day, I think, if we're not careful.
Probably.
All right.
So does anybody
You
want to
have
start?
pretty bad takes. I would say. Pablo would like to start because he has
No,
pretty
no,
bad
no,
takes.
no. I'm gonna let you start, guys, because I can just go on and on for like 1 hour, so you can start.
Alrighty, I guess I'll start then. The thing that I probably like the least is most of the way the battle strategies change after Mahabra, and also how much Dragonvalder's skill tree blows.
What do you mean by the battle strategies changing?
Well, take a look at, say, the Tormented one. For all of the other bosses, it's all about, protecting yourself from limb loss and making sure that you don't get owned by horrible status effects. And usually it's over within 3 turns maximum because of how dangerous and bloody the fights are. Once you hit Mahabra, the game just sort of slows to a crawl. Most of the bosses are all about healing and tanking rather than never get hit. And it goes from a really interesting, almost Final Fantasy V style RPG to a lot more generic.
Yeah, that is interesting. I always felt that the Tormented one in particular is a bit of a weird fight because you do just have to tank. You just can't avoid all that damage, can you?
Nah.
I
mean, you just kill him in 1 round, but
yeah. If you just break the game in half, then it's not an issue, right?
Right.
Yeah, I think that was intentional because I remember somebody asked Miro about why the game feels so different in general, because it changes from a dungeon crawler to gearing up your party when you hit Mahab. And you unlock all these old shortcuts back to old areas. And it's that was intentional. So I wonder if the changing the bosses completely too was intentional.
I mean, if I had to hazard a guess, it would be because he stopped being completely depressed and just went down to a regular finish depressed after he was released to the demo, which had everything up to Mahabra.
I want to understand more what you mean with this concept of changing the battles, because I didn't really feel it as much as you did. So can you elaborate a little bit more?
Well, sure. Take Cave Mother.
Yes.
What does she do? She mostly rips your limbs off, and that's what you need to avoid. And
Okay.
compare that to, I don't know, Skin Granny. It's not really a matter of avoiding her attacks, because you can't. You sort of have to tank your way through with healing and managing critical state.
That's the same as
Okay,
Valtiel as well. He doesn't do any limb attacks, does he?
I mean, he
Valtiel
can
has
cast hurting, but
hurting.
that's
Has hurting.
1 in
Oh.
4.
Black Orb.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
Black Orb-
it's even less
Wait,
than
does
1 in
Black Orb
4
cut
because
limbs?
it's no, actually it is 1 in 4. You're right.
Yeah.
I don't really understand exactly why you're saying that fights change after Mahabra. I don't get it, honestly. Also confused.
Well, basically, in the all of the other fights, you can, for most of them at least, you'll lose a limb per turn if you don't play the fight properly. You don't really have to worry about losing limbs for most of Mahabra. Almost nothing does limb damage.
Well, yes, but I think that Valtiel is much more threatening than a limb loss, because Valtiel can just Black Orb and then follow up with a headbutt, and then that character dies.
Yeah, they're,
Also,
but
they are
that's
more
also
threatening.
kind of what I mean, because it becomes less about cleverly managing the way the opponent's actions are, and more about
getting lucky.
having tanks to survive his hits.
In a way, I think about that
Mm.
with the Skin Granny fight. I just get lucky, or I don't get lucky and I just lose. It's up to you, however it is, to be honest. And then also I think about that with the Tormented one. As far as I know, he can cast 3 times the Chain of Torment. I've been told that never
3
happened to me.
times?
No,
But
no. It doesn't
no,
work
that
like
never
that.
happened to me. Okay,
Like
how many times
the
can he
torso in the
cast?
what?
Mhm. How many times can he cast it? Because I don't know honestly.
So the torso in the first phase can cast Chains of Torment if you kill both the hands. It's like his tackle, basically. And in the second phase, he every turn has a, I don't remember if it's 50% or a 33% chance, I think 50, of using Chains of Torment with the first circle. The other circles always do either nothing or Revolution tier. So it can cast only one hurting per
Okay.
one Chains of Torment per turn.
Can he one shot a target from 100% HP?
If you don't guard, if you have shitty equipment, absolutely yes.
Yeah, he'd be able to
Okay,
hit you
so
with
it is a
Revolution
threat in a
Tear
way.
and Chains at the same time, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can get 2 Revolution Tears and a Chains
So,
on the same guy on the
yeah.
same turn and just get like gibbed.
Yeah, I guess not. There's not really another character that can do that without any way to circumvent it before I
Well,
have everything
Valkyr
about it.
can. He can headbutt and Black Orb.
No, no, I mean before. Well,
Yeah,
Oh,
we're
before.
talking
Oh,
about
yeah,
that everyone
beforehand.
can't
Yeah,
do
yeah.
that. Yeah,
it
we're talking
becomes
about
way
everyone can't do
less.
that because
It stops being about managing stats effects and way more about just surviving and dealing damage, which is generic.
Counter argument. The Caro Molar. The Caro Molar, you can counter the pack status with a red vial, but you always have to use a tank on which you put the Iron Mask to be sure to not get blinded. Or you can just RNG your way, but I mean, you can do the same with all the other bosses to not get blinded.
Right,
I
but
think
you're
it's
managing a status
different
effect with
completely.
the Iron
Yeah,
Mask, which is what I'm
you can
talking
manage
about.
it. Yeah,
You're not worrying
exactly. You
about
can
damage. Once you're
exactly,
past Mahabra, it's all about damage rather than status effects, and like
and you
the
cannot
skill
pheromone to
tracking
counter.
stuff.
Yeah, you cannot pheromone to counter that. If you pheromone a single character during all of these fights, they just die. They get
Okay, I
Black
see
Orb
what you
into a
mean.
headbutt, they die. They get Skin Granny, they die. They get Tormented One, they die. Right?
I see what you mean. Okay, I understand your point. It's not a thing that I dislike, but I understood what you mean, and yeah, I understand why some people may find this a little bit annoying in a certain sense.
Not
I don't
saying
even
it's
find it
annoying for
annoying,
me.
just disappointing. It feels like I got bait and switched. I figured I'd have like enemies that can sever like 4 limbs every single turn in the final area, but then I just don't have enemies that sever limbs.
I think there is a bit of an issue there because it's like, well, if you're severing, sometimes because there's enemies that sever multiple limbs, like the Phantom Assassin can sever multiple limbs. So where do you go from there? Because when you are severing 4 limbs in a single turn, then why not just give them a one-hit kill attack, like Black Orb, Revolution Tear, and Chains of Torment all at the same time? Like, why not just do that then?
Because losing limbs, except on your main character, is almost irrelevant. You can finish the game with party members with, I don't know, 1 leg each, as long as your main party member is fine. Or
I
even
believe
if
you
your main
So,
party member
well,
is not fine.
well, then that's an argument
I think I
for.
also remove the legs and arms with a bonsa and just keep the party member on your team without having them ever lose any limbs.
Yeah,
figured
my
that out as
second
well.
playthrough, I bone soft all of the girls' limbs for food, and she
She
was
was
still
okay.
working fine as a party member.
Yeah, it's quite dumb. I love it.
cursed.
Well, then losing limbs is then not a threat. So then that's another argument for just making them deal damage. I think at that point there's sort of a limit to how hard those mechanics can be.
Well, you could just basically just make the random enemies Kahara.
That's true.
I have another
Yeah.
counter argument to your thing about the bosses, because you are still managing status effects, like Chains of Torment can cut off limbs, Cutlass of Francois can cut off limbs.
Chains of Torment
can't cut off
cannot cut
limits.
limbs.
It only does infection.
No, Chains of Torment can cut off limbs, my friend.
No, he can't. He can't.
Doesn't it do bleed as well?
I am gonna
Yeah, it's
open
mostly
the
bleed.
code
You're
right
gonna
now.
open your thing and you're gonna see that it doesn't do limb loss. Because if it did,
I'm gonna
would
show you
have
non-believers. Guys, this is also for the guys in the chat. Remember, never distrust for Apollo 94, okay?
Always
never.
distrust for Apollo 94.
Unless it's
Yeah,
about
we have-
defense.
we have 147 hours with me. Bones Jones has 130, I think,
Yeah, something like that.
hours into the game. Mao, I don't know how much he has.
In the first game.
Okay,
oh,
I
that's a
cannot
good
bring
question.
this up again. No,
I don't know.
okay. Chains of Torment doesn't cut off limbs.
You
told
idiot! You
I
fucking
told you.
tried
idiot.
so badly
Those
to
in
make
the
it
chat,
fast.
always remember, Jones is always correct.
But anyways, the point still remains. Cutlass from Francois can cut off limbs. Skin Granny is able to apply critical state. You have to manage that one by using pheromones on someone with Salmon Snake. Like,
I mean, you
there
don't
is still
have
the.
to.
you can't. You
Usually,
still
the way I
die.
deal with Skin Granny is just like get hit with critical state, drop to 1, and heal.
I mean,
The
Yeah,
way,
you
actually,
can
that's
also.
what I
I
do.
deal with Skin Granny. The way I deal with Granny is combustion with 3 characters and she dies usually.
How do you get combustion on 3 characters?
I
Yeah,
get. I
just
get
give 3 characters the
lucky.
most busted skill in the game, and every fight's easy. Oh wow.
I mean,
But,
that you can also just do what I did in my girl solo run and toss out like 3 Murky Vials and take out all of her limbs at once.
Oh, you were playing on Fear and Hunger difficulty, I guess.
Yeah. I'm
Understandable.
gonna have to use a different strategy when I do girl-only genocide on terror and starvation, but
That's gonna be
the
a
best way
nightmare.
would be combustion. Combustion is the best way. 2 combustion kills her. The first turn,
No.
then the
If
first
you
turn,
manage to
then
burn
it
her.
takes, and then yes, of course, Rapolo.
I
You
mean,
learn that. You go
But,
torso, it burns, then torso again, and she dies. You need to survive like the first turn, pretty much, with a salmon snake.
yeah, but the point is, I know what you mean when you say you just get attacked by critical state and you heal, etc. But you can just do the same with all the other bosses of the game. I mean, Cave Mother, you can literally just crit the torso with an Easter Sword and you win. Salmon Snake, you can attack the torso or the head.
that's the thing. You're winning not by absorbing the status effects and healing, you're winning by preventing them in the first place with high damage.
Yes.
Which is totally different than just taking it on the chin and healing up afterwards.
I think sort of the point here is that in the early game, all the fights are puzzles, plus you can just brute force them. But in later game, they feel a lot less like puzzles, and it's more just brute forcing. There are still some tactics, like
That's a good
obviously
point.
with Tormented One, you need to stop the wheels, right? And Skin Granny, you should take
Oh,
out the
that is
arms first,
bullshit.
but
That is the bullshit part. The tormented one. I hated that fight so much.
You know the secret
really?
to stopping the
Aw.
wheels, though, right?
what is it?
Yeah.
Sorry?
You use the status effect on them, and they're still
Oh
locked
yeah, like
forever.
fire, like voice or anything. But
Well,
Like
man,
fire, like
knowing that as a new player
bleed.
is just one of the most bullshit ever.
When I do
I
that,
mean,
it doesn't stop it.
as a
It
new
just keeps
player,
going.
Oh, because you have to stop them both in the same turn, or in the extra turn and in the normal turn after that.
So you
Yeah,
have to
yeah,
like
but
like I said.
if you just
What?
drop a status effect on them, they're still locked forever. They jam every single turn.
Yeah,
You know
absolutely.
what?
But
You know how
you
you
don't have access
fight
to
this
anything.
thing? You know how
You have
fight
access
the
to
tormented
things at that
one?
point in the game. At that
No,
point
no,
in
no.
the game, you
I mean,
either
I
have
mean-
access to
Of
combustion
course.
or you can get poison from Harvestman. 100%.
Of
you have
course,
access.
of course. But
Easily.
imagine
Listen,
in the
okay.
worst case, yeah, Raccoon.
The best way to deal with that bullshit is just poison, fire, and probably bleed the torso of the tormented one, and then you win.
No,
The
you don't
second
win.
phase will
You have
still be
to
burning.
still deal damage in the end, but it's very easy.
No, you will take damage, but it's gonna be dying really fast, and you get just
No,
attack.
no.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tormented
Yeah.
One is a boss with a really unique property. He's one of the very few enemies, might be the only enemy, that cannot be killed with a status effect. You have to actually
It cannot be
attack
killed,
him.
but you
Real.
can still go for 1 HP damage.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
it
can
cannot
get him
die.
to 1 HP, then you have to hit him
Yeah.
afterwards.
Huh.
Yeah,
If I remember
That's
correctly,
interesting.
even
really that
the
hard when you have boneless.
God of Fear and Hunger also has this property, if I remember correctly.
Right, yes, she also does.
But still, yeah, okay. I think I finally understand what you mean when you say that in the late game you lose the possibility of either tanking or managing stats, etc. I can agree. It's not a bad thing in my opinion, but I understand what you mean. So
I also
Like, I'm a
understand.
guy-
Yeah.
I'm a guy whose like favorite RPG is Final Fantasy V, but solo, and
I love
usually with
you.
limited classes. So I'm really used to treating fights like puzzles and enjoying it, and taking that away kind of disappointed me.
I love you.
I don't know much about Fear and Hunger 1 in a way as how I feel about it, but I felt really pushed away from the game when I got to Mahara to the point that I dropped the game and played 2 at the time. But
That's
I don't
probably
know.
Dropped
why.
the
Because
game?
it's so different. The pacing
it
is
was
and
hard
fights
to
completely
play.
different once you get
It's
there.
just so difficult. Yeah, I felt it felt impossible. I was like, I need to sacrifice an ally to be able to get through this part. And then I knew about the doppelganger that you can actually make, and I was like, oh, makes sense. Okay, sure. So weird.
You know what's really fun about that? In the early versions, there was no option to make a doppelganger. You were just stuck sacrificing a party member if you wanted to fight that
That
guy,
is
and I
sadism.
like that.
Oh, that's brutal.
That
You
is
like
pure
that,
sadism.
Yeah.
Nah.
Wait, so could you
I
potentially
seriously,
get
I
this?
love that as
Could
well.
you get soft lock there then? If all your party members die?
No, if you go there solo, then you just have to walk back out, and it's not mandatory for progress. It's a hidden optional boss fight.
Oh, in the early version.
Oh, it was a hidden optional boss fight in the
Yeah.
past.
Oh, okay.
Also, in
Well,
that
I guess
version,
because
from
if you can
the-
kill Ragnaval, right? Or you can just leave, I guess.
no. It's because there was no whole like going into Mahabra and collecting the 4 souls in that version. It was just
Oh.
there was a second passage of Mahabra that was always guaranteed that would put you in the Temple of Torment.
The one in the level 7
Yeah.
basement.
Yes.
Oh, I remember
I
that
see.
one. Yeah, I made some investigation on that part when I was looking about the discarded ending.
Yeah, was that the ending where like there was Lagarde's blood and the tormented one came out of it? Was that the same ending?
It was not. It's not the same ending, but it's the same version, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because on the demo version available on Game Jolt, you can find in a already removed map. So probably it was an even older version, the one in which the ending of Legard turning into Tormented One was canon.
Okay.
But it's still available in the game files in that version.
Yes,
All
in
right,
that
so-
version, for those of you in the chat who don't know, Nilvin would show up, slit Lagarde's throat while he was in his cell, and out of his blood, the Tormented One would appear.
There's a so in a note in the game, there's a mention of a priestess called, I think it's Celine, and she's never mentioned
Yes.
anywhere else. And I just thought it was Nilvin, and I wonder if that's a leftover from that version, because obviously the Endless One being asleep and, you know, Celine being a name of a moon goddess, it feels like it's probably her. But
Yes,
it's
that's
never
what I
mentioned
assumed
again
as well.
anywhere else. So I always wondered if it was tied to that ending.
It's similar to how in Blood and Flower Magic they call Mastery over Insects a Grogoroth spell.
Yeah, like a leftover. I wonder what else is leftovers in there, actually. And I wonder if there's anything else that like seems important but is actually just an accidental leftover.
I mean, Bachman was an usable party member in the past. Apparently, at least it was scheduled to make him one because there is a character called Bachman.
Who has the flag that makes him only guard in combat, so presumably the first draft of the Rescue Bookman side quest, you would recruit him and he would be useless in combat except as a tank.
Wasn't it an auto-battle flag?
No, his character class had auto guard assigned to it.
Oh, I remember I thought it was an auto-attack. Okay.
Oh,
No,
so
it
he'd
was
be like a
auto
temporary
block.
party member while you bring him to the other knights.
Yep.
Okay.
There was also a cut priest class, not dark priest, regular priest.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah,
I
yeah.
remember I've talked about that in one of my videos before. It was I think it was a lunar priestess, he called it. And he's got like a design drawn and everything. But that didn't make it, as far as I'm aware, none of the abilities made it in game. And he isn't going to say what they are because he wants to reuse it at some point. So it might actually show up in a later game. And the penance armor was originally supposed to be its own class. Kind of like a really kick-ass Punisher type character with minimal backstory. Just go in and clear out the dungeons. But again, that got recycled into just being the penance armor itself.
So like
Understandable.
Ragnvalder, but doesn't suck.
Well, probably. Like again, we don't know what any of his abilities were or any of his actual story was. I think Miro just said like, yeah, he was just gonna be kick-ass. It's like, okay, like he looks like it. Looks cool.
You know what? If Ragnvalder started in the penance armor, he would be a fucking baller character.
That would help a lot, I think.
Not really. Like, does it really matter? You can you start with bleeding from the start. That's kind of annoying. I mean, you can remove it, but still, you can just get the penance armor normally.
Sure, but
No, like,
imagine.
He was the only character that could have the penance armor, and it still had all of the status effects.
Oh yeah, then yeah.
That would
I
be a
understand.
strong character, starting off
Yeah.
with limb protection.
Yeah, imagine starting off with great. It probably wouldn't end up being the best armor in the game at that point, right? It would probably be rebalanced a little bit. But yeah, limb protection, really good armor, and you can actually that way you could actually use all of Ragnvalder's, well, some of Ragnvalder's abilities, and not have to worry as much at the start.
Yeah, if bloodlust didn't, go away when you got hit.
Yes,
The
actually,
penance armor would
actually,
make
that would still
it
be
actually
unusable, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Never mind then. Never mind. All right.
Also, fun fact for all those that don't know this, just to tell it, if Ragnarvalder started with Penance Armor, it would be very annoying one particular thing, which is fighting the Crow Mauler, because yes, Penance Armor protects from Peck, because it protects from Headless, but Penance Armor does not protect from Blindness.
It
Yes,
doesn't?
The funny
despite
thing-
not having a visor, despite having
Exactly.
literally no access to the eyes, unlike the Iron Mask,
What the
it
hell?
does not protect blindness.
I wonder if that's an oversight, because
So funny.
that seems like it. I feel like more armor should protect from blindness. I really feel like it should. More head armor. Because like if it physically covers your eyes, it really should protect from it.
The explanation someone gave in the Discord is that those are magical crows. But
But
it doesn't
They
make
don't
sense.
deal magic damage, they just deal piercing damage.
Exactly. That's why I
Yeah.
think it's complete bullshit. Like I don't care. I always gonna think it's like an oversight, or maybe they just made it in order to balance Penance Armor, because being also protected from blindness maybe would have made it too convenient, and you would always go for that. Instead, now you have to strategically plan if you want to fight the Crow Mauler, and if you fight the Crow Mauler, you are gonna use pheromones on someone else with the Iron Mask. It's kind of confusing.
But then the thing is, you can just get Gaunt Knight armor and then Salmon Snake. And then you're in a better spot than just if you had Penance armor. Because Salmon
Gaunt Knight
Snake is
doesn't
better.
protect from Gaunt Knight doesn't protect from either Peck or Flock of Crows, though.
The only way to
Oh,
survive
that's true.
the skin granny for me has been with the penance armor.
Really?
But
I couldn't. Yeah, I
Penance
couldn't. As a
armor-
solo character, I couldn't
Oh, solo.
do it any other way. Yeah, solo with key skills only.
Penance Armor does not protect from critical state. How did you do that?
I don't remember actually, but I did use the penance armor.
Oh, okay. I mean, yeah,
How
for
did I
sure
do
that
this?
reduces the damage.
Does anything
Yeah, I don't
protect from
remember
critical state?
exactly.
Summons Nick Soul.
But you
Really?
cannot use that,
Salmon
right?
Snake
Oh
Soul
yeah, you
and
can use that. You can use that, right?
also,
Yeah, you can use
the
that.
other thing that protects from critical state is getting critical state by an attack that drops you to 1 hit point.
Ah, that's a bug. That's a bug, dude. God damn it.
Using a bug to protect yourself still protects you, and that's what matters.
And that is
Yeah.
the lore.
Well, he's not
from
wrong.
The lore
Love him or
that
hate him.
brought you that doppelgangers are lore.
I mean,
Because
what's better
shows.
to protect you than to use the debug spot of the empty scrolls to not have to fight any new god and just finish the game?
Because if you aren't married when you do that, you'll go to the void and have an empty party and it'll crash.
I mean,
Does it?
no. You will get
No?
the empty party, but if you reach the end without any fights, you're good.
What a
Really? Because every time I
beautifully
tried
strange
that, it would
game.
just lock up.
Wow.
Oh wait, you said if you're not a marriage.
Yes.
Oh no, then okay, then you're kind of screwed. But that's your fault. Now you know you need to be a marriage. Just make a marriage with a goal, and you're fine.
What a
But
weird
what if I
game.
don't want the marriage's floppy cock on my screen all day?
Too bad.
What if I
Bones.
don't
You knew
freaking
what you were
want to use
getting
debug
into.
spots? Like, what do you mean? What if I don't want to play the game? What if I'm gonna make a bad review without knowing
Ooh.
anything of the game?
I
Like,
don't.
what do you
I don't like
mean?
dicks, but I want to play Fear and Hunger. Shaking my head.
Exactly, like
Shaking my head.
shaking my head. But anyways, instead, what's one thing that you really like about Fear and Hunger, Jones?
Oh well,
One thing that I like the most about Fear and Hunger.
if I may, going on from big
Ooh,
floppy
yes.
dicks on the screen, that's what I really like about Fear and Hunger. Is how
You love dicks, huh?
No, I like how
Yeah.
I like how just shocking it is. Like how it's just sort of it does things that you don't expect games to do. And it's not like it's really extreme in basically everything it hits you with in the first area of the first game. It's like, oh, I didn't know they could make RPGs where your limbs just get cut off and then that's it, right? You just don't get it back. I didn't know they made RPGs where you could just get fucking owned and then get anal bleeding status effect. I didn't know they made RPGs where the dude's got a big dick hanging out there. I didn't know they did that. Oh, they do. And oh, wait, it's actually a really good game too. It's not just their just for shock effect. Like it's actually a good game.
Yeah,
That's what I really like about
you
it.
know-
Is just
Unlike lone RPG.
Shut up. Lona RPG also has these elements, okay?
it does, but that's a porn game. So Fear and Hunger isn't a porn game.
Absolutely. That's true, even though
I mean,
it's
minus
marked
the
as
dicks, a
mature.
lot of old roguelikes had most of those mechanics.
Yes,
example?
but the thing is that Fear and Hunger is also a good game. So
Fuck you, I like Zing. Now, Zangband has stuff like if you take an acid attack and aren't wearing a closed face helmet, you'll get permanent scarring from it that damages your charisma score.
Oh, interesting.
Or if you take enough damage in one hit and don't have proper arm protection, you might just lose the arm.
Hmm.
You can
That's
recover
cool.
these eventually because it's high fantasy, but
But still, you're damaged while you explore the dungeon. Yeah,
Mm.
understandable.
yeah, taking any sort of massive hit can really easily lead to a death spiral because you'll lose access to all sorts of stuff. Also, a bunch of really interesting decisions to make. Like, gauntlets can protect your fingers from getting chopped off, but you won't be able to cast very well with them.
Wait, you can lose fingers
Oh.
individually in that game?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay, that's pretty rad.
Yeah. But I agree with you, Mao. Like, I think that Fear and Hunger does one thing that some games are not able to do sometimes. Because sometimes games spend like 1 hour or 2 hours in the introduction, we may say, where you don't actually play or something. While Fear and Hunger, you start and literally dogs attack you. There are some guards with cleavers. There is the Iron Shakespeare in the basement.
Yeah.
The Manebas are gonna inject you worms. It's everything.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Can't go this
Yeah,
way,
it
can't
takes
go that way.
15 seconds for you to walk north and then have a giant fucking dick on screen.
Yeah. It's just
And that's probably why it was so successful a game, because that's a really strong first impression.
it is. It
For
like it
sure.
has, it has like the introduction with the text on screen. It's like, oh, okay, like character building, I get this. And it's like sort of, oh, it's dark and grimy. I like it so far. And then it's just like, boom, dogs, boom, guard, boom, you're dead. And it's like, oh, what happened? You die faster than the actual text introduction. It's like, wait, what? And then restart.
Yeah.
Try again.
Well,
Restart. Try again.
when the first time I played the game, I started on hard mode with the Outlander, and I spent more time in the introduction, and then I spent 40 seconds dying to the dogs.
Yeah. And I like how almost everything is sort of an inversion of what you expect. It's like you don't actually want to get into fights. Oh, equipment is way more important than actually getting in fights and getting stats, because you just you can't level up. And the first party member you get, the little girl, she's actually utterly useless for a while, for a new player. She's actually utterly useless for the vast majority of the game.
Yeah, if
everybody
you're a new
hates
player,
you. Nobody
will
likes you.
Always think that the girl is useless.
Yeah. And the
Yeah,
money, you can't actually use that because you made a mistake, and like the one shop you can spend it in for most of the game, you can't actually use now. And it's just
What
all
do you
these
mean
like
you
small
can't
You
things.
spend
can
the
totally
podcast?
use money at the start. That's how you get the potions. Like the potion of full life. It's so useful.
That's true. That's true.
And then,
But wait,
and then
the merchant doesn't spawn immediately. It requires another event to be triggered, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, you need to walk like 3 rooms in.
Yeah, and a lot of players, in my opinion, are not gonna backtrack to the entrance after traversing 3 rooms without fighting the guards,
Yeah.
potentially.
and then the first ending that most players are going to get is like, oh, okay, so we have to go find Lagarde, and by some sheer miracle, they get down to Lagarde. He's fucking dead. Good job. Now leave. Go.
Yeah.
You're done. And then you leave, and then it's like, wait, have I actually left, or do I just have insane PTSD from that miserable time in the dungeons? That I came back missing a leg, missing an arm, infected, anal bleeding. It's like, it's just misery. It's just utter misery. And it's like, there's like no things in the game where a game designer would say, that's a good idea. Let's do that. Let's make it even more miserable. Let's crank those dials up. But because it just keeps stacking on top of each other, every single little decision just adds more pressure. It becomes a pretty fantastic experience.
Yeah.
And that's sort of similar
Absolutely.
to a
The
lot
fact
of...
that
Oh, sorry.
the fact that every single decision you make has consequences, and meaningful ones at that, is the thing that I like about it. You actually have to like think and try. That's rare in a video game. Most of the time, you can just play on autopilot.
Exactly, yeah. Like, even when you've done it 100 times, you still have to pay attention because the very first enemy in the game can completely fuck your run if you're not paying attention.
True.
Like, oh, do I guard on turn 1 or turn 2? Oop, you didn't guard on the right turn because you weren't paying attention, and now you don't have an arm for the rest of the run. Good job.
Imagine not knowing about guarding for the whole playthrough.
You say this, but I can guarantee you, I'm making the series about the bad reviews. A lot of people don't realize
no?
this,
Yeah.
despite the fact that I want to tell this also in case people don't know. Sir Seymour in the basement doesn't tell you blatantly, oh, use guards when the enemies are gonna use coin flip attacks. No. But he tells you something along the lines of guard is gonna be useful. Guard, if you feel the situation is gonna become bad. And that's why I started using guard. Like at one point I thought, wait, the guard does a lot, the enemy guard does a lot of damage with the coin flip attack. I'm gonna guard it to be sure I don't take too much damage. And there
I
it
would
was. I
say
dodged it.
maybe, in my opinion, I would say that only a few people know Sir Seymour because you need to go to a lift, and most people will play on normal mode. People who will play on Terra Reservation would know about Seymour faster than others, which is
I-
something good about Terra Reservation.
I feel
But then you have
like
to read that.
the vast majority of people just wouldn't make it past the first couple rooms, I think.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, but is
But
it really a
you're
problem of the
like 2 or
game?
3 runs. No, you're 2 or 3 screens away from Seymour if you go to a left. But if you go up, you're like 9 away, I think.
No, there is the well.
No one will jump down the well after
I
getting.
dropped down the well.
I dropped down the well and you
I
went down the
didn't.
toilet.
I was
and
like,
don't
are you
regret
kidding
it.
me? I'm
I
not jumping
never-
down there.
You
I'll
know-
die.
I'm not. Yeah, exactly. I'm like, I'm getting killed by this guy. I'm getting like the dog. I'm getting killed by just jumping down the blood pit. Fuck it, no.
That's like
I
in
mean, if you
Termina
never
with the
try, you will
leechmonger
never
ring.
know.
The guy with the leechmonger ring.
Exactly.
He's all shriveled up, and it's like,
Yeah,
I'm not touching that
exactly.
ring. You kidding me? I'm not
Yeah,
taking that.
fuck it.
Touch it immediately.
Well, actually,
Like,
no.
no.
I didn't.
No, what? No, you
I
didn't?
didn't touch it. No, I didn't know about it until my night playthrough because I heard the Shrek yelling coming from above, but I didn't know what it was, so I didn't know about that place until like my
You
night playthrough.
one thing I always say to the new player is this game will make everything possible to prevent you from actually experimenting because you are scared of losing progresses, etc. That's why every time I suggest a new player how to play, I say establish a save file and then experiment from there. Look at the map, try choices, etc. That's why I think
Yeah.
not choosing something, okay, maybe on the first attempt you didn't, but once you find either a save spot or just you get tired of not checking what's inside of here, I think you should try other choices. That's how you discover new stuff. Otherwise, we would still be, I don't know, there wouldn't be any guide in this moment. It would be a
Yeah.
lot of difficulty even just to defeat Valtail or something.
I also did the same with Final Fantasy 1 and 2, where I got a save and I would do everything just to sacrifice myself to get the knowledge. I wouldn't care about getting forward or
Exactly.
anything like that. And it helped me a lot, to be honest. But I think there's a magic of playing without doing that as well that I kind of missed, probably.
Yeah, there is a magic.
Who
I
knows?
think in Termina I did it more, but I think both are fine. But the point is, I don't think lamenting because you don't know what's down the well and you don't want to risk is kind of a interesting thing to say. You know what I mean? I'm not saying you are lamenting, but I'm just trying to make you understand my point.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah, I never had that mindset. I just every time I would like I think I must have spent over 24 hours in my first save. I was playing so cautiously. And I remember I tried to get the tower ending B in Termina. But Abella was bugged. That was back when there was that Abella bug where she would just vanish from the save sometimes. And I hunted down every single other person, and I'm like, okay, where's Abella? Oh, she's not here. I went and got aura reading to try and find her, and she just wasn't there. So I had to go and rush and do ending A really quickly, and I did this all in I had one big last 12-hour stream on December 31st.
I know. I know what happened to you.
What
Should
happened?
I explain? So the thing about it is that there was a bug before the patch where you could run. if you played before the patch where you can run.
Mm.
Then there was this bug. I don't know if it was watched during that. I have no idea. But in my Levi.exe run that I did, there's a point in the story where I cannot open a door where Avela is. Avela is behind that tunnel that opens with, what is it called? You gotta break it with a short circuit, or you gotta go the other way around and get it with short circuit again. That's where Avela is as Chugner. And if you don't have the damage to break it, you cannot kill Avela. Avela is there in that place for the whole run.
Really?
You will never get it. Yes, you're stuck there.
What the
And
hell?
that was something that could happen to you. Yes, in my Levi.exe, I was fighting a door and just playing sad music because Avela was there, and I spent 2 hours and 30 minutes trying to get a good luck crit or anything like that. I don't know if you could even crit the door back then. I don't think so. But I was trying my best just to get damage, and I did at one point. But that door, you need Blood Golem for that door. They patched it. Avela cannot go back there anymore. But if she glitches in day 2 night, in day 3 night, she will be back where Needles is in the tunnel. So it's quite a glitched state where Avela is just completely invisible and gone.
She
And I
still
hated
has
that.
some glitches too. She can appear if you kill her upstairs. She can appear downstairs too. I've heard, but you still get the souls.
There's
You kill her
something there
upstairs.
as well, but yeah, you get 2 souls, but it's the same shit.
Yeah,
So,
so it doesn't really matter.
so neutral. Yeah, exactly. I hated Avela. I think it's one of the worst characters because of that. My trauma with Avela is high. It has been fixed. It's no longer a problem, but I hate it.
Huh.
That
Yeah,
Avela-
Maybe the developer
I
was
had a
back
really
and fixed it for
similar
you.
issue with Termina.
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly what it was. I don't remember most of the details. I was playing like before the game was actually released, and I just had like a bunch of dudes despawn, and I was forced into ending A because characters didn't exist.
Yeah, there were a few like that. I think they're all fixed. I think it's all fixed now though. I don't think anybody disappears. I haven't had one disappear for a long
the
time.
only one that has disappeared for a viewer of mine that they told me many times is Marina. Marina disappeared.
Marina's when she's
Oh.
alive, yeah, she will. Her triggers are all over the place, and it's a nightmare to try and figure out how to fucking find her, let alone recruit her or anything like that. But I found that she'll always show up as a moon scorch, even if you can't find her as human. She'll always show up on day 3 night. That bug when you fight her is the funniest thing. I can't help but do it every single time now. We just run and then she just dies.
Oh, that's just beautiful. Yeah, I love that so much.
I'm like,
I
hey
think-
chat, watch this.
I don't
Run,
know.
win. Hey.
I told you about that, but I think it was either Holy Predator who told me that or someone else. That was just beautiful to witness it.
Because you never think to run away from those fights because you usually can't.
Oh, yeah, you can also run away from other fights, like Marco. I think Doppelganger Marco at the tower. I think you can run away from him as well.
Wait, Doppelganger Marco?
There is a
I
doppelganger
mean, sorry,
of
sorry,
Marco?
sorry, Moosecrouch Marco. I'm so sorry.
Oh,
No.
okay.
Moosecrouch Marco at the tower. Sorry.
You can
Yeah.
run from that fight?
There's many Moosecrouch at the tower that you can run from.
Wow.
Yes, that they die.
Does it instantly kill them?
Just dies. Yeah.
Wow. That sounds
Actually,
funny.
speaking of Marco, that's another thing that really grinds my gears.
Marco.
So if you look at Marco's battle sprites, he's got his lead arm up to his chin and then his back arm down in an L shape to his stomach, right?
Yeah.
This is modeled after what's called the Hitman stance in boxing, where you have one arm in an L shape and one arm up to your chin. It's something that I used a lot when I was boxing.
Oh. I didn't know you were
Problem
boxing.
is, his hands are backwards.
Are they?
Who they are?
Are backwards? What do you mean backwards?
No.
The
Wait, let me
L-shaped
check,
arm
sorry.
is supposed to be the lead arm, because you're only having it in that L shape so you can toss out flicker jabs. And you have your
Okay.
rear arm held up to your chin,
Oh,
so
but
that you
his
can
hands are
step
backwards.
forward
It's
and
just
throw out a powerful straight.
Oh, so okay.
Oh yeah, you're right. It makes
So it has
sense.
the wrong poise, basically.
I mean, it's actually correct on his fighting him sprite, but when you recruit him into your party, he has his stance backwards. His footwork all fucked up too.
Interesting. I didn't know this. Never noticed.
Interesting.
And it's just, oh, it's so close to being a cool reference that like I would have really appreciated, but
I
no,
mean,
you
it's only one person
put it
working it, so
backwards.
maybe they'll fix it.
I
We'll
mean,
tell them with this podcast.
We'll hit up
Andrew, if
Miro
you're
and say,
watching,
Miro, you gotta fix
don't,
this shit, buddy. You gotta fix it.
exactly. Don't add new locations. Don't add new characters. No. Fix the sprite
Yeah.
of Marco.
Fix this. And that's it.
Yes. Unironically, yes. I will play Termina again when that happens.
Well, actually, you might be pleased to note this, Bones, but there is going to be a lot more character interactions in the coming update, apparently. So a lot more scenes. Unfortunately, everybody's favorite Caligura is only getting he's getting somewhere to sleep at night, apparently, and nothing else. Which I know we're all disappointed in. But it's
Hey,
better
man,
we can
I'll
actually
take
find him.
it. It's better than nothing.
Absolutely, yeah. Because right now it's an absolute nightmare to find him.
Yeah, that's kind of the big issue with Termina. There's just like you could have a bunch of cool interactions with stuff and like lots of content and meaningful decisions on the way you approach stuff that dramatically alters the gameplay. Instead, the world's like mostly empty.
Yeah.
Mm,
That's pretty annoying how
Okay.
like there's just huge chunks that it's like, well, you just never like ever need to go there after you've explored it for the first time. There's just big chunks of the map. It's like, okay, well, that's done. Now I just never go there again. And some only have like one interaction on a specific day that if you really wanted to recruit a certain character, well, you missed it. Good luck.
Avela, Henrik.
And I don't mind a little bit of that.
You know what? Actually, Mao, let me get this to you. I want to change also fucking Dan day 2 morning, afternoon, and night. If you say no to him to join your party by complete accident, he's gone for the whole run.
Yeah,
fuck.
yeah, he just
Yeah, that
leaves.
happened to me on my
I
SK
hate
run.
that.
for the whole run.
For the whole run, he's gone, and then he comes back as a bucket, of course.
Yeah.
Ah, yeah,
Okay,
bro,
comes
that
back.
way.
Okay.
You gotta, spoiler, alert, spoiler.
Spoilers,
Oh.
spoilers.
In a Fear and Danger podcast, we are talking about spoilers. Wow, incredible.
We're at the stage where I just openly post ending slides and people just don't give a shit anymore. I think we're past spoilers now.
Yeah,
Oh,
at
maybe.
this point.
Yeah, maybe.
I posted like the ending A Ryla close up on Twitter, and it's like people know, they get it.
But anyways, yeah, I agree with you guys. I also think Termina. One thing that Termina did worse than the first one, in my opinion, is that zones are too vast for no reason. Because in some zones there is literally nothing after the first time. And regardless of that, one thing that I will add to this discussion is, in my opinion, one thing Termina did very bad is the fact that, in my opinion, the map, despite having some little shortcuts, doesn't seem connected. Doesn't seem, you know what a vertical map is?
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't seem a vertical map to me, and that really hurts me, because the first one had this incredible design in which from level 1 you go to level 7, from the thicket you go to level 7, from the level 5 mines you go to the infested part of the mines. Then, okay, Mahabre is cut from everything, but you have the blood portal still to go back to the actual vertical part of the map. It's like Fear and Hunger 1 is Dark Souls 1 map, and Fear and Hunger Termina is freaking a mixture of Dark Souls
I would
2
say
and Dark
Bloodborne.
Souls 3.
Don't
see
say, no, come on,
Maybe.
let's not go that far. Those maps
Sorry, I
fucking
already did.
suck. Terminator's map isn't that
Don't
bad.
regret it.
It's not that bad.
Yeah, I
Come
would say
on.
Dark Souls 2 or 3. No, Dark Souls 2 doesn't even have like connecting places. You can just go to the run. I won't say that, yeah. I would say
Yeah, you
Demon Souls is even worse, actually.
It definitely feels a lot more like in the first game,
Oh,
you can
it's
break it in
platform.
half and pretty much almost go anywhere you want if you know what you're doing. And it is a lot more carefully structured in the second game. And I think that's intentional because the whole game in general feels like he wanted to take off the top few strategies where it's like, yeah, you can just break the game in half and do literally whatever you want. And that's why we don't have like scrolls and no phase step and that sort of stuff. Because like just to bring it down a little bit.
Yeah.
And
yeah, exactly.
and we are getting a lot more, like the whole point of the update is mostly to add new paths in, so it is going to make it feel a lot more fluid.
There's gonna be a connection. Yeah, it's still not a full game, right? It's gonna be. I want the connection to happen because I also get lost, even though I have 400 hours. I still get lost.
Yeah, but it's not just the feeling of getting lost. Is that the map is very long. And that's not inherently a bad thing. It's just a thing that I personally don't like, because going from the first game, which wanted to suppress you with its atmosphere, tight corridors, dodging enemies in the first game is actually, it seems, it's not difficult, but it seems more difficult because of the fact that corridors are very small. Instead, in Terminal, you freaking have towns,
You
houses,
will have a hard time with
sewers.
Termin as well.
I feel
it's
like
really
I
hard
get
for
what you
other
mean.
people.
I feel like the intention was to be, because the theme of the first game was all like grim and dark and underground, and this one's supposed to be light and open, and with like, you know, with like rare staring down at you and that sort of, and a different kind of pressure. And I don't think he nailed it as well as he did the feeling in the first game, because everything just ends up feeling open, and I don't think it really fits this style of game. But I do understand what you mean, because every time I play the first part, it's like I feel like there's like at least one or two maps I'm like, we don't sort of need this here. There's like just a long forest path, and it's like, okay, like I get it. You don't need to do this. I don't want to play this every single time now. It's just a waste of time.
That part hurts a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, the other issue is that they're also like empty.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are a couple of items. Maybe if you're playing as the botanist and you have the skill that lets you pick up some random plants or something. But apart from that, yeah, they're mostly empty.
The maps
Like-
I think that are empty, it's a secret area in the forest where there's like a lot of people watching a hole. That one I just don't understand the place. That is empty as fuck for no reason.
Oh, it's a
Yeah.
secret room. You need
Like,
secret rooms.
compare the density of
Like-
like one of the rooms where you rescue the girl to any of the entire maps on the forest path. The
Yeah.
girl rooms generally have like a monster in it. They will usually have the cage. They'll usually have like a library you can read stuff on. Well, a bookshelf. They'll usually also have something on the desk that you can read. Sometimes there's also going to be a kitchen where you can cook stuff, which is actually an important thing. There's usually like a dozen different things to do in every individual room in Fear and Hunger 1. You're lucky to
Yeah.
have a dozen things total across an entire map in Termina.
Yeah. It feels very I wonder if the intention was for the game to be really open, like really open world, because that's what it feels like, an open world map. But then he's just sort of added the barriers, so it's broken up into 3 sections. Because it's that sort of open world design where there's like, instead of being strict paths between stuff, it's sort of, there's points of interest and then you get between them however you want. And I don't know if it works as well as it could have.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think it could have added more stuff, which I know saying it out loud seems really duh or even stupid to some people, because
Yeah.
they may just say, bro, then you make the game. But that's the point. I'm not a developer. So I'm not the one that has to make a game more interesting or something.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, I guess
Like,
the experience is different when you've played it for 200 hours compared to a brand new player. When I was playing it for the
Yeah.
first time, I think it felt good. Like I didn't mind having the big open areas because it was like a little bit of a breather in between the tense fights, and everything was scaring the shit out of me.
See,
I didn't
had
really
the exact
like.
opposite reaction. The huge open areas without much in them just bored the fuck out of me. Like
Yeah.
that one
Yeah.
part where you have all of those moon scorched peasants that don't do a whole lot, and you can fight them and cut their head off for leveling up. I would go through there and do that to get the soulstone shards, and it would be like 20 minutes of
Yeah.
nothing happening.
Yeah.
That's
Because-
true.
It's the intelligent way to play the game.
Yeah. And
I
you've
don't
got
know.
like to go from the train to there, like, you know, you got the train, right? And then you've got the forest path. And then you've got the sewer entrance with the one guy who shoots you, and you can miss him pretty easily. And then you've got the waterfront where nothing happens. And then you go there, and only then do you have the actual guys that will attack you. So it's like, and then you go to that spot where you walk through that house where, again, like,
So for me,
can avoid that
it
easily.
is like I said, different. Like in the other podcast that we had, I think the guy shooting at you, being so out of nowhere, sudden, It just feels like a really good introduction to us players. So I think it's pretty good, to be honest, to go through
Oh,
that
like I like it,
like a
but
big scare.
I was just sort of highlighting how
But
there's
yeah,
that
going through the
stretch
game
where
is
you can
like,
just like nothing can happen, a massive stretch each time.
yeah.
Does he do like 10 damage?
No, yes, it does 10 damage. Yeah.
Okay, he doesn't even cut off arms or something, correct?
No, I mean, Mito decided to like make the game slightly easier than that,
Oh god, could you imagine if that dude
right?
just randomly cut off arms? Because you kind of
That
he
will
will
be
hit you
Fear
each time, no
101
matter
pretty
what.
much.
He will shoot you.
I mean,
Yeah.
if you get your arms cut off, you can just put it in a Sylvian circle, bam, done.
Yeah, easy. But
Yeah,
the
it is a
point
little
is, I
easy.
don't know. I feel like it's gonna become like yeah, maybe the first time you get shot by the shooter, you're gonna be like, wait, what happened? Who is that? Okay, I agree. It happened to me as well. But from the second time, I think you're gonna be, oh yeah, there is the shooter again, because it's not something so important. 10 damage is ridiculously low. I know it's the early game, but in a game like Termina, where in 2 seconds you can get 50 party members, I
But
don't
you
think
don't know
that's
about that as a new player, though.
as a
We
new
gotta look at
player.
it as both places, right? For a new
Yeah,
player,
but
it's quite inviting. But
look
for
at
that,
that,
you know,
and then look at the possibility of going to the side entrance of the dungeon, and you accidentally find a maneba. The maneba kills you because, or maybe just
exactly.
reduces your health by 50 or something.
That's why I enjoy a lot of Fear Hunger 2 as a new player, because I can recommend the game while recommending the first one later, because how difficult it is. There's some people who like trial and error though, so I guess it depends on
Mm,
the person who's playing it.
so
I
you're
mean,
kind
I
of
to me, it's
think
starting
still
It
with
really
was
trial
really
and
Termina.
error.
inviting for me to play the game.
Like
The
it's
first game
easy
is
compared to the
really
first
trial and
one.
error, yes.
Yeah, the
I
first one
just
is really trial and error.
I just really want to point out the ballista guards with like their arrows hit harder than that guy with his rifle.
Oh yeah,
That's
they
true.
put
I mean, like,
70 damage, I think.
but still, like that's a
And if you have
ballista
foil,
though.
you
That's
get
not
I
like an
one-shot.
can't remember
arrow.
if it was 15 or 20 and also caused bleeding, but it's nasty.
No, I think it's 75, and then 100 or so if you have foil.
No, I
The
mean on the
ballista,
overworld.
if you don't guard, in the overworld, yeah, it's like very low
Oh, in
amount
the
of damage,
overworld,
but it puts bleeding.
it's just not that much, but it puts playing anyone.
It's still more than the bullet somehow.
Exactly. I don't know. I feel like it's quite inviting for me to play 2 over 1 if I'm a new player. I just cannot
Why?
imagine myself. I just really have a hard time getting into games, and having a game that will just do that to me straight up, it's really hard for me to get invested. I don't know why. Most people probably have this feeling of having a hard time getting into new stuff
I think Termina is
in
better
our
for new
games.
players because I think it's just easier all around and less shocking content because that actually does turn a lot of people off, which I'm fine with. I think it's great that a lot of people get turned off by it, but if people want to get into the series, I always recommend Termina over the first game.
You know why I'm always scared of this recommendation? It's just my personal thing, but for example, imagine playing a game that is really good and you like it because the mechanics are good, the story is good, the difficulty, maybe it's a little bit hard, but you still like it. And then you quote unquote downgrade to a game that has mechanics a little bit more clunky
I
and a
wouldn't say
difficulty
that.
higher.
Like
What?
I get that. I get that. What is the first story? Frapolo. I get that, Frapolo.
Yes,
Sorry, okay, maybe
okay.
whatever the fuck.
Do you forget his
Did you
name?
Fine,
forget
go
my
on.
name?
Yeah, I forgot your name. You're so unforgettable. Sorry.
Okay.
Okay, Frapolo. I get that because I got into Monster Hunter World and then I tried to go back into the previous ones and I had a really hard time getting into the clunkiness of the old Monster Hunters.
Yeah.
But I would say, and I agree with this with Jones, and I agree with this with Rapolo, that Fear Hunger Ones feels a lot better when you're getting into the fights, the sounds, like everything, the ambience, just feeling so threatening. That feeling of fear and like just complete dread going from the second game to the first game is amazing.
Like,
And I think it just
Hmm.
scares the player really well.
I agree. I think that atmosphere is better in the first game. And I like a lot of specific things like that about the first game more. I just think for a brand new player, most of the time, like my own experience, I struggled to get into the first game, but I felt that the second one was easier to get into. Mechanically, I mean, I like the aesthetics a bit more on the first game, but mechanically, Termina is easier to get into. and I think that it's less of a high wall for a new player to get over. And if that means that, you know, there's a 10% higher chance that someone will get into the series, I think I'll take that. I'll say, you know, maybe you'll enjoy the darker stuff better, but there's a good chance you won't, and a good chance you'll struggle. So here, take the easier option.
Man.
Exactly. Yeah. Yes. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm agreeing with you, but it's not a downgrade. That's something I cannot say because it feels. I was interested in playing Freehand 1. I wasn't like, yeah, this is just a downgrade. No, I was interested in playing
I
it.
said downgrade in quotation marks because it's not exactly a downgrade, but it's to say that it's a little bit more. It's a different game, of course, but if you go from Termina to the first game, I think you will feel a little bit of not slowness, but just something weird that it's not present in Termina. You know what I mean?
Oh,
No, I think it
absolutely.
will
Like,
be the other
Termin
way
is definitely
around.
more polished with all the mechanics, right?
Yeah. I would
Yeah.
say, though, it's the other way around because in Fahrenheit 2, it will not punish you as much, and you already know how to deal with stuff in 1, so you can just cheese stuff around easily. I don't know.
I actually struggle a little bit going back to 1 because it's missing the sprint for 1. Missing sprint. I always just like hit the shift button to move, even though I don't need to. And the diagonal movement, you just miss the diagonal movement so much.
Oh, you miss
Somehow I
it.
got used to that.
Yeah, understandable. Like if you go from
Maybe I
diagonal
play-
to 4-axis, it's very bad. If you go from that
Maybe
to
I
the
play
other.
way too many RPG Maker games, but I got used to that real quick.
Yeah, I'm very used to it. That's why. But I think I go into the conception of a new player going from diagonal to 4-axis is kind of bad.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I
But
disagree.
still, like that's not the. You disagree?
I'm joking.
No, I wanted to say that's not like the most important thing, of course. But I think experiencing the first game also puts you in the mindset. And I know you may say the second is less punishing and also puts you into the mindset. It's just my personal thing. I think the first one does it better.
I think if the players want a good introduction to the mindset, I think some people have done some pretty good videos about it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there was
Yeah,
that guy.
I have to,
How do you
like,
say his
embrace
name?
nihilism.
Mal the Duke. He did one for Termina, and who was
No,
the
no,
other
that's
one?
no, that's totally wrong. It's pronounced
No,
mouth dog.
it's true. I watched your videos, Mo.
It's mouth
Tell
dog.
me.
You're
Sorry,
pronouncing
mouth
it totally
dog.
wrong.
Right, mouth dog.
Mouth
Yeah,
dog.
there you go.
Mouth dog.
Do you pronounce it Mao the Dog or Mao the Dog, by the way?
No, leave him. He has been asking this question since he met you.
Really?
Like 3 years.
I
You're still
like
not responding. I love when he asks it. I love it.
I literally like
But,
said my name at the start of the podcast. You're not listening.
Don't worry. He's
Wow,
still asking.
wow!
Don't
I
worry.
thought we
Just
were
leave it
friends,
like
and
this.
you don't
I
watch
don't
my content.
remember.
You don't watch my streams. You don't listen to me.
I don't.
What are you even here for?
They suck.
What are you even here for?
I'm here for the money. No, you're paying me, right? You're paying me.
I'll pay you in pay you in silver shillings. How about that?
Perfect. No, but anyways, I forgot it was 1 hour and 15 minutes ago. You think I remember what happened 1 hour and 15 minutes ago? Do you remember what I ate today?
Yeah, I can't remember what I had for breakfast either.
So how do you pronounce it? Can you tell me?
It's mouth dog.
Mouth dog?
Mouth dog.
Yeah, mouth dog. Do you not know? We've been calling him mouth dog since
Yeah,
we started.
mouth
What do
dog.
you
I
mean?
always call him Mao the Dog.
No.
I do.
Listen to the VOD.
I-
Listen to the VOD. Listen to the VOD. Listen.
Yeah, listen to the vibe. So the thing
Listen to the ball. Okay.
I dislike
Yes.
about the series, right? And this is going to sound funny, but the thing I dislike is how vague some of the lore is. Now,
Interesting. Interesting.
I also
Hot take.
really like
Elaborate.
one of my favorite things is how vague some of the lore is. Now, let me clarify, right? There's a
Yes.
difference
Sondere?
between lore that has enough puzzle pieces to figure out what's going on and ones that don't have any answers whatsoever. Like the doppelgangers are one of the ones that there's nothing about. We have no idea. And we just sort of have to wait for updates if it comes in updates. And about, did I mention this last time? About how logic, we don't actually know if we did anything by by turning on the
Yes,
teleelectroscopes.
yes, you did tell us. Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
that's
I
right.
rant about that every time because it's.
I mean, by turning on the teleelectroscopes, you know that logic is now a marriage.
Logic is a marriage?
Is it
Huh?
really?
It's the marriage theory.
I
Everything's
still
a
need to make-
marriage.
I
makes
still need to
sense.
make that lore video. It's horrible, and everyone's going to hate it, but it's also actually correct.
It's
No.
wild. We were talking about it the other week. It's I guess should we spoil it? Probably not.
Spoil
I
it.
mean, you know what? I'm gonna spoil it because why not?
Yeah, go ahead.
So you know how Grogoroth is like a bunch of different gods at the same time?
No.
No.
Wait,
Oh, you don't?
they haven't watched my lore.
didn't
They don't watch my lore
study.
videos. They don't watch my
I didn't
videos.
study.
I literally
Shit.
made a
I didn't
stream with
study.
Worm Girl about this, and she never told to me about the Grogroth being different gods amalgamation.
Well, see, this
Wait.
is actually
Morgan doesn't watch mouse videos. That's crazy.
no shocking stuff. So this is actually a recent advancement by that YouTuber we were just talking about, Mouth Dog. He's discovered that Grogoroth was most likely the sun god that mysteriously died so Ulmir could ascend.
Oh, yeah, that's part I remember it, yes, but how does it go to being an amalgamation of different gods?
Well, the fact is, like, Grogoroth was the sun god. He's also traces of Grogoroth. He's also Ulmir. He's also Sulfur. So he's like 4 or 5 different gods there.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, because they're all the same god. They're branches on the same tree.
I really need to watch some of your videos, maybe.
Anyway, the whole thing about that lore video that I'm gonna make is that the rest of the gods are Sylvian.
Oh no, 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 no!
I'm not gonna justify that on the podcast.
Listen, Maldedu, go ahead with your mouth dog. Sorry, go ahead with your hot take about Fjernagar. I don't want to listen to Jones anymore. No.
It's done.
I
It's
can
done.
prove it. I told you everyone's going to hate this, but there's so much evidence for it that like I made that theory as a joke shit post at first.
And yeah, we were talking about it, and I'm looking into it, and I'm like, oh no, it works. It works.
making
I can't
sense.
believe this. I actually can't believe this.
It's making sense.
It actually makes perfect sense, and I kind of hate that.
Yeah, it's disgusting, to be honest. Yeah. So I dislike how there's some things that are just like in the game, and because Mirror is usually really good at making sure that things fit. Like, you know, the Circle Spear is a classic. It was a reference, but shit, now there's circles in the game, right? They're just erasers in the game.
Yes.
So I don't think that there's anything in the game that isn't there for a very specific reason, right? I think everything has lore attached to it. And then there's just some things that he just hasn't given us the clues for, whatever, and I find that really frustrating. Because everything else is so well put together, and I know that he's done it for a reason, but he just hasn't given us the clues, and it's like, well, like why? Like it takes up space in my head, and it just gets me mad.
Yeah. You know that room with the television that your character like can actually comment on the television?
The television
Yeah,
The
room,
one that is
yeah.
supposed to be doppelganger of
Hate
Karin.
that place.
Why do you
Yeah.
hate that?
Oh yeah, and the Karen doppelganger too.
room.
Like if that's even a doppelganger, like whatever that is. Yeah, it's
I mean, I know what it is.
what is it?
No, you don't.
Yes, I do. It's Sylvian.
No.
Look, everything
I
is
heard
either
from Italian,
Grogor or
so
other
hold on.
Sylvian, and I can prove it.
Yeah,
Yeah, are you
I hate
Sylvian, Jones?
yeah. I think you're Sylvian.
I'm so-
Listen, Frampolo. I think I
Yeah.
heard you say something in Italian for like a second. I think you
I
actually
said
getting
the
angry.
EO. I said the EO because I was destroyed by the assumption that Karin is Sylvian. But anyways, I agree to an extent. But on the other part, I think that having vague things is what allow people to theorize. Because yeah, even having more clear facts could do that. But who knows? Maybe without these vague things, your videos on the various gods wouldn't exist. or I don't know, all the theory crafting on the Discord server wouldn't exist. Anything wouldn't, nothing would exist probably if there was one concrete lore that everyone follows, as a cult maybe.
Look, you're 100% right. And that's why the vagueness of the lore is also my favorite thing. But
Oh, okay.
I like it when there's enough puzzle pieces to be able to start putting it together. Like the Grogroth as a sun god thing. I'm really confident in it, but I acknowledge that, in an update or in the next game, we could get some puzzle pieces that completely change what the picture is. It's just right now, I think that's what the pieces are saying. And so I really like that there is that wiggle room. And, there are some other theories that are pretty interesting as well. But I just think there's some things that just have no clues about them, like almost at all. And it just really annoys me. But then, and on the flip side, I do love how intricate and woven into the games the lore is. It's like what Dark Souls tries to be. I think Miro nails that. I think it's really good. When it works, I think it's amazing. I think it's some of the best usages of lore I've seen in games. But when it doesn't work, it's just
Dark Souls
annoying.
Tries to be.
Dark Souls sucks.
Yeah.
You're saying that only because you don't know the sheer depth of the Dark Souls lore.
No, I'm joking. No, don't show me the graph with Kingdom Hearts again. No, don't.
We're not doing the graph. No graphs.
I've still got that graph. I can point out how F-Zero is canon to Dark Souls.
No, you don't. But anyways, I was joking. I love Dark Souls. I love Dark Souls.
Oh, I think it's good. I think it's good, but or rather, not what Dark Souls tries to be, but what people think Dark Souls is, lore-wise. People think it's super deep and intricate, apart from the graph. What's actually in game, right? But it's like it's just like a couple of layers deep, and it is pretty interesting. But then people think it's like the deepest game ever, and it's like, well, no, Fear and Hunger actually goes all the way down, and it uses all these really interesting real-world religions, and it's pretty cool.
Listen, I think Dark Souls 1 was the only game that actually got me into lore. Actually, like super deep into it, because the second that you hear the song from the final boss in Dark Souls 1, that is when I was like, I want to know. I need to know. I need to go through everything to know why this song sounds like this. It destroyed me when I heard it. And it was one of the best feelings.
Yeah, I think one of the reasons for which a lot of people consider Dark Souls this crazy thing, incredible, the magnum opus of the whole universe, is because it was the point of introduction to a lot of new things for a lot of people, like lore, difficult quote-unquote gameplay, or something like that. So people become attached to that thing, and they start to immediate themselves into that, and so they start to replicate the feelings they have for themselves, even for the thing, and you get attached to it to a point in which if someone says it's bad or it's just average, you feel attacked yourself, and you say, no, what do you mean? It's the best game ever, or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're right there. It was sort of the first big game to do lore like that, so it is natural that games would do it better later on. Like Elden Ring did it better, right? Yeah, and it makes sense that people would think it is the best game then when it was the first major game to do it so well. Because it was great for its time. Like I think it did it really well for its time, especially for a big AAA game, right?
Yeah, also it was like 2012, which were the competitors in the lore department?
Oh god, Dark Souls is so old, it's getting close to being a retro game.
Oh,
ooh, that's true. God damn
Demon Souls already is, isn't it?
Demon Souls, I think it's from 2009. I think that's considered retro.
I can see a retro.
That'll be
games
retro
that
next
look
year.
to be honest.
Wait, so what's the cutoff? Is it 15 years?
Yes.
Demon Souls is a retro game?
In 1 year, yes.
That's kind of weird though, saying that. I always thought retro games would just be like 8-bit, 16-bit, like
Yeah.
32-bit games.
I don't feel comfortable with 3D games being considered retro. I don't.
Yeah, I don't either. I
Can we come
wouldn't
up with a
give
different name for
that a
that,
name.
please?
Final Fantasy VII.
I never played any of it. Is that retro?
You suck.
That's not.
Yeah, that's retro. That's from 1999.
Jeez. I
What
played.
a name we are talking about.
I played Final Fantasy 14, and I played basically up. I haven't done a current patches, but I played all through the latest DLC and or X pack, and I haven't touched any other Final Fantasy. And I got a friend who loves them all, and he's like shaking his head at me every time we talk about it, and he's like, you're not getting any reference in this game whatsoever. Because you haven't played any Final Fantasy, and Final Fantasy 14 is just references to other Final Fantasies.
Yeah, I saw
Yeah.
some boss battles 14, like I saw Kefka Palazzo, for example. Like 14 is full of references to the other Final Fantasies.
Yeah.
By the way, Mao, I'm going to destroy you here and now.
Oh.
Super Mario Sunshine
No,
for the Nintendo
no,
GameCube
no.
is 21 years old.
What? I bought that
Super
game with my
Mario
own money.
Sunshine is old enough to drink.
God damn it. Super Mario Sunshine has my age, 21.
Wow.
So, Dark Raccoon,
Mm.
what do you dislike about the Fear and Hunger saga?
I'm gonna have to tell you that this is something that I had in the past when I started playing, and I also hated the game. That's why I had to wait for Termina to release.
If this is going to
So
be a really
this is
bad
not
take,
something
we
I
might just end the
dislike.
podcast immediately when you say it.
Yeah, probably. Thanks so much for coming, guys. See ya.
Man,
Man.
listen to me.
Oh
Yeah.
no.
Just the photo of the horse saying "man" with me. Now listen to me, okay?
Uh-huh.
This is a hot take that I think a lot of you have with the game when they start playing. I don't have anything that will change. I don't have anything that will add, like to add, nothing. But I wanted to remove in any kind of way the coin toss mechanic.
Can I ban you from this server, please?
I've seen
not
that
know
opinion
this,
Mad
before.
Dog.
I've,
You've seen
I've,
it?
I've seen that opinion before. I don't get it.
Yeah, it's a surprisingly common wrong opinion.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Exactly. Oh, finally.
Yes, I
Finally!
also think it's a common bad opinion. It's wrong
Oh,
because I
okay.
like the coin toss now. That's why I said that it's a bad thing that it did before. But that thing, I needed to remove it from the game for me to play. I couldn't play Fear and Hunger 1 because of that. And I didn't know about guarding coin tosses. I was forced to lose every single time and I didn't understand anything.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry,
was
that
really
was
hard.
the most convoluted take. I didn't understand what. Can you repeat?
He's just saying
Imagine
that.
if you loot something and you have to like coin toss to see what you get, and you would have
Yes.
gotten something game breaking that would have just carried you, like Ring of Wraith with life stealing doors, for example, making healing items useless for the whole game. And then you know that in your head, and you get tails when you go for heads, and you're like, man, I could have gotten Ring of Wraith. I could have just won the game there, and I have to see through it again to get lucky, only to step on a nail in the corner and then lose again.
There is a difference. The nail is a skill issue. It's not the RNG.
You're new with the game. That's the
Well-
kind of stuff.
Well, look,
I mean, wait, sorry, mouth. Sorry. If you're new, you don't know about the Ring of Wraiths.
You
Ooh, good
do
point.
get to know it because you get lucky at one point, sadly, and the game fucks you with it.
So you get lucky
showing
about
that
a
it
point about
exists.
the Ring of Wraiths, but not
Yeah, and
lucky
then you're
enough
scared
to
of losing
dodge
it,
the
and then you
rusty
lose
nail.
it.
Like, bro.
Same with arm guards, same with leg guards,
Yeah, yeah,
same
yeah.
with so much shit that you're like, man, I wish the game wouldn't be like this with me. I want to remove the coin toss. I want to just play without knowing what I'm gonna get, and that's it. I hate it.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's similar to. I've actually talked about this on stream a little bit because other people have had this opinion too, and I was baffled at first, but it's kind of like XCOM, right? Where if you're screwed by
Yes.
RNG, the whole point of the game is RNG mitigation. It's getting yourself to a point where RNG won't kill you, and if a coin toss would save you, then you should just consider yourself dead anyway. And getting a coin
What
toss
is
is a bonus.
XCOM?
Sorry?
What is XCOM?
Oh, it's that
Wow. Wow.
that
Wow.
strategy, that turn-based strategy game with aliens, which is notorious for being completely bullshit. And really heavy
not
RNG
Never
throughout it.
heard anything about it.
I guess it's been a
Wow.
while since its last big release for them. It's not that important. It's
That's
just notorious for
interesting.
being bullshit with RNG. It's
Okay.
kind of like Darkest Dungeon then. How if you were screwed by RNG, you were screwed anyway.
Oh,
It's one of those
okay.
games where you can have like a 95% chance to hit someone and still miss. And people think that's
Fear and Hunger.
unfair because
Nah.
the 5% can't happen, obviously.
Yeah.
That's just basic statistics. 5% doesn't exist.
Yeah, you have to even in Pokemon. Like, okay, in Pokemon it's a little bit more in Pokemon it's the exact opposite because if a move is not 100% accuracy, it's like 0 accuracy or
Yeah,
something. But
it's the same thing.
the point is Fear and Hunger is not like this. You can do a lot of things in order to, even if you miss one time, mitigate the damage you take. The whole Fear and Hunger experience, in my opinion, we can also make this for all the RPGs, is just reducing the RNG to increase your advantage.
Mm.
You can be unlucky, fail all the coin flips on the bookshelves, on the weapon racks. If you know where to go and what to do, you are still able to win easily.
Yes,
Yeah.
but if we don't know, and that's what it was for me. That's why I wanted to remove it at the time. That was my hot take at the time.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah, yeah,
okay.
and
You don't know
that's
having the knowledge. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
that's sort of a
okay.
mindset thing, and that's why a lot of people struggle with like other games like XCOM and Darkest Dungeon too, because they don't realize that the RNG isn't there to screw you; it's there to save you. You know, if you get into
Yeah.
the RNG is it's there to help you, right? It's not
Speaking
there.
of
It's not there to
5%
hurt you.
chance, speaking of 5% chance, I was doing a tournament, the Chain to Tournament only run in Termina, and there's a 5% chance to miss when you use it, and I missed like
No.
9 times against Rare. It was heartbroken, and it costs 80 mine to use it. I hate it.
Wow.
5% clutch.
Yeah, it was one of the worst things there. At least I know that it inflicts bleeding, but that's the only thing I got to be honest. I hate it.
God damn it.
Hate it. There's one more thing I wanted to add about. Shut the fuck up, Rapula.
Huh?
Yep.
Oh, sorry.
God damn it, Rapula.
I
Sorry.
think you still need to tell us the thing that you super like about this one video game series, Raccoon.
Tell me,
Nothing.
what is your question again?
The question is, what do you really like about the Fear and Hunger series?
Sorry. I wanted to add something else before moving into that.
Oh,
Uh,
sure.
That I want, if any of you guys could,
Raccoon?
because that's what I wanted at the time, the coin toss
Oh,
to
my
be
internet must
removed.
be fucking
If
dying.
someone, should we wait for Bones?
Huh?
We can hear you,
Jones
Bones.
is lagging.
Bones?
I don't know that. We're waiting for him. Wait,
Uh
he cannot hear us. It seems.
Oh, he cannot hear us.
oh yeah, he dropped.
Yeah,
went
also
away.
wait.
Is he back?
Jones, you there?
All right, there we go.
Okay. So
Okay.
I want one of you guys, because I don't think I can, if you can, to remove the coin toss
No.
to allow
No.
people to get into the game to try the game.
Absolutely not.
Because I did a 99 save mod for both games, and a lot of people got into the game because of that. I think allowing the community to get into the game will help a lot. Some people
You
don't
know,
like to have infinite saves.
It goes against my ethic because
I
I'm
know
one of
it's
the
same
people.
for me. Same for me. I was the person who said I'm not gonna make a 99 Book of Enlightenment mod because it feels wrong.
But you
But
did.
A
What
lot
do
of
you
people asked me for it for 4 months.
People are asking me for 4 months to make Termina videos. I still didn't do them.
I think
That's a
that the
different
games
story
naturally
completely,
gatekeeping
man.
themselves is fine. I think that's fine because
Maybe.
that ethic of it being difficult and cruel extends throughout the whole game. And taking out those core mechanics like that, I think makes it a completely different experience, and the people just aren't experiencing it properly. And if they don't like it, I think that's fine. I think they can go play something else then. Like not
Exactly, I tried to
everything
play-
needs to be for every person, and I think that's fine. And I think Fear and
Exactly.
Hunger is so good because it doesn't pretend to be for everybody. It says, this is how hard the game is, this is how dark it is, this is how bullshit it is, and if you don't like that, well, okay, that's fine, it's not for you.
And you know what's the funny part in that?
Yeah.
That this is the complaint I have. The game is too easy.
Terminator is too
2,
easy.
yes, it's way too easy.
No,
Terminator is
no.
too easy.
The first one, not
Oh, the
Termina.
first
The
one? No,
first
it's not
one.
too easy.
Termina,
Not too easy.
no. Let me explain. Let me explain. Okay.
You'll love that mod that I'm making then.
Yeah,
Hmm?
definitely. The one with that has only crow molars and crow molar is very fast,
Oh.
right?
I mean, it has more than that. It has stuff like rusty nails that chase you down.
Oh, that's beautiful. I have a mod. I have a mod. Holy Brasser is making the mod of what is it? You start Fear Hunger 2 with 90% hunger. So like you only have like 10% hunger. And every single time that you transition your screen, like you have like 30 seconds to move away from that screen, otherwise you die. And you cannot eat.
Oh, it's basically
Yes.
Mazo mode, but with extra steps.
Yeah.
Okay,
Would
but
you like to
anyways,
talk about one last topic? Because
Yeah. Well,
it's getting
what did you
really
like
too
about
time.
the games then, Raccoon? Because I think that was the only question that hasn't been answered.
Well, the thing about that I like about the game, I'm gonna say it's just the challenges that I can do. I have to say, Fear Hunger 1, I've been stuck with challenges that I don't know what to do with them to make them fun. But Fear Hunger 2 has so many things that you can do to make challenges with, and that's why I haven't run out of ideas for challenges. Recently, I did Wheel of Pain, which is pretty much adding every single thing that could happen into a run and just doing a wheel spin every time I get it wrong on a coin toss. Like I open a chest, I get it wrong, I spin the wheel, and I think it's really fun. Like I'm figuring all this shit. Yeah,
What does a wheel do?
it's
Like
pretty
what's
pretty
on the wheel?
fun. There's so much stuff on the wheel. Like for example, lose an arm, lose a leg. F5, for example.
F5, no.
Discard all the money, discard armor, discard weapon, discard amulet, ban all amulets, ban use heroin as soon as you get it, use items as soon as you get it.
Wow.
Like be poisoned, don't heal poison, don't heal bleeding, don't heal. This is just so good. Like step on a bear trap, stuff like that. It's just so fun to be honest. And there's some good stuff as well that could happen to me that will make me have a chance to fight back. Like for example, there's one that says raccoon decides, which allows me to remove one of the challenges I have. But it's one of like 50 things. I love it. I've been having so much fun with all the challenges. I would say the amount of things you can do with the game with challenges, it's just beautiful. And I cannot run out of stuff because there's also stuff coming up, which I'm really happy about it.
Yeah, that's what
I
I
like
really
it a
like
lot.
about the series too, is how many different ways you can tackle everything. I think Termina is
Yeah.
a little better in that regard. How there's just so many different ways you can, because there's a lot more variety in spells and weapons. And yeah, I think it's pretty cool. Like I'm doing the 10 Commandments run, trying to figure out how to beat the game without breaking the 10 Commandments, and it's doing my head in, but we're making some good progress.
Wait, how do you kill stuff?
So there is so basically what I said was that we can't kill any living humans. So Sulfur Cult members are allowed because they're undead, and Moon Scorched are allowed because when you get Moon Scorched, you just die. So only fully Moon Scorched.
Oh.
So only the bell ends.
Does the moon count as a living being?
Oh well, you don't kill the moon. So I think that would be allowed anyway because he's an alternate god, and that's allowed. So, but we don't kill him.
Oh, okay,
So.
understandable. It seems doable.
That's
Yeah.
really hard, but I'm really happy. I see you doing that. It's like me, and I want to do that as well. That's the stuff I want to see, man.
I mean, if you
I
want to
love
do
it.
it, go
I
ahead.
love
I'm
the game.
gonna, I don't really care if people steal my
I'll
video
probably do
ideas
like a second one.
because I steal it from somewhere
Yeah,
else anyway.
I'll give you credit of it. I'll give you credit.
Wait, what? What did you say?
I'll give him credit.
No,
I'll
Mountain
tell
Dew.
people that. What?
All,
What do you say?
all,
You steal?
all my video ideas are just like recycled from other people. That's what everybody does. It's yoink and twist. You take an
Oh,
idea
that's-
and you
yeah,
twist
yeah.
it. Yeah. Like
Yeah,
like
yeah, I do
I
the
didn't
same.
invent tier list, right? I didn't invent 10 Commandments challenge run.
Yeah.
All right, I think we had to wrap up now.
All right.
Yeah. Any last words, guys?
Yes.
Yes.
Make the game more difficult.
we're getting Terran starvation mode. We're getting that.
No, I mean the first one, because all the useful weapons and the good accessories are easily accessible. I want it to be more difficult. Like, give me a way to make the game even more difficult. I want a hard mode or
Look,
something like
I
that.
think the issue with the
Hard mode,
first game is that because the whole game is like a puzzle. Once you've figured out the solution, then it's sort of like, what do you do after that? You know?
yeah,
Well, you start modding, obviously.
true.
Yeah, that's the stuff.
All right. Thank you guys very much for coming in, and thank you for everybody listening. See you next time. Say goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye,
you.
everyone.
Bye bye.